post lunch. So let's actually start with the story, right? Before we start with this speech. Now this is a controlled story, so my objective out here is थोड़ा lunch का heat reduce करना है, right? So this is a story my grandfather told me, right? So there was this old man and his dog. They used to stay on the top of a mountain. And the old man, at his old age, found it very difficult to work, right? As in his youth, he could do only one third of his work now. Now, as he was going through the forest, he found an old lamb. Now, in the hopes of using the lamb, he took it home and started polishing it. And suddenly, a genie comes out. Genie says, "Oh, my great master, I'm here to help you out. Any task you have, I'll fulfill it. You want to change the world into a flat earth, I'll do it for you. But I only have one condition. One and only one condition. If for even for a second I'm idle, I will swallow you." The old man, initially who was happy, oh, at this old age, my back is paining, everything is paining, I got someone like a son to help out. But when he heard the terms, he was a little shocked. But anyway, he said, "I'll die one day. Maybe the genie will swallow me. Till then, let's enjoy." But the fact of luxury, fact of comfort, is that once you get comfort into something, you fear. You fear death. You fear things. The same happened to our old man. The old man started fearing death. The genie started giving him the luxuries of life. The genie built a castle. Genie did every task that the old man said. Now, the old man, scared of his health, death, started plotting how to get rid of this genie. The old man said, "Go and count all the grains of the sands in the deserts." Genie goes out. After 3 years, comes up with a number. Damn it. So the old man says, "Go and count the salt content across all the seas." After 6 years, he comes back. Now the old man is like, "I'm going to die now." Then his dog comes in. The dog, he sees the dog and it clicks him. He says, "Genie, straighten my dog's tail." The genie goes out, tries all methods to straighten that dog's tail. Till date is said, the genie is still trying to actually straighten the dog's tail. And the old man has died, the dog has died, the dog's kids had died. The genie is still in the process of actually straightening the tail. Right? A good story, may not be linked with our speech, but I just wanted to warm this crowd up, right? So let's start with my small introduction. I'm a 2x founder. My last exit was a deep learning model in 2020. I made a document processing model, which I sold to a Canadian company. I currently work in ArkOne to create autonomous AI models that can actually automate certain industrial practices. So previously I was into open source contribution. GStreamer, I've done some contribution in GStreamer in my younger age. Further on, post 2020, I actually was active with a Canadian organization to help open source projects get funded, accelerate them, do certain DevOps activities with them, right? So this is a small background about me, and currently I'm building something. We started with the hopes of building a platform. We are now kind of a service plus ecosystem kind of a thing that we are trying to build for larger organizations. So now let me take you to a scenario. You're at home and your washing machine is cleaning itself, right? And your clothes are getting washed automatically in the machine. clothes are getting walking through the and getting into the washing machine. Plates are getting cleaned automatically. Your window is getting swept, right? What does that remind you of, right? Usually it reminds me of, hmm, sorry, reminds me of Snow White. Snow White is, this is 1938, Snow White and the Seven Dolls, right? A very classic uh, cartoon series, cartoon movie. Really loved it. Um, I was not born at that time. I watched my recording, so I'm not that old. So, so what excited the real old boy in me was I started trying to train the squirrel that used to come to my window. Started giving him food. I was like, I'll make him do some activity, right? Seeing this movie inspires me to do certain activities. So if you see the movie, Snow White is actually doing through her songs enchanting the animals to do her bidding. This is a common human behavior. We, for the longest, have tamed the most dangerous beast, and we have started putting her in him or her in our verses. The great wolves, we tamed them, crossbred them, and now we have made a cross, small chihuahuas, German shepherds. It is a human nature to buy, bend the entire ecosystem to make it easy for us. May it be animals, may it be the ecosystem itself, the nature, and everything, anything. We even molded the human by human DNA to do it. We expanded our age. Where now most people can live till 100. There are humans who live till 100 unless and until something hits you, right? So the effort to actually be lazy is something there in our DNA. We are the only animal that can reason. The ape can actually do or imitate what we do, but to ask the question why is only the human species, right, that can do that. Pushing to that, we created AI models, right? It started not recently, but in the 1950s, where a small AI model created by MIT, right, in the 1915s to imitate human conversation. Now, it will not create anything of something new, but it can imitate human conversation. These are rule-based systems that came in. Now, post 1918s to 2000, we started exploring in neural network, deep learning. We started building various frameworks. We started generating images, very screwed up images, but we started doing it, right? Now see what we have done, right? We've got models which can actually generate great realistic images. There are YouTubers who are actually now creating AI models to do the recordings, right? There's no human intervention in it, right? But the problem with generative AI is you need human inputs, right? You need it to say, hey, generate this, generate that, right? But there was a field that was working separately, which is called AI agents. Now, this is also something, I'm clicking the wrong button again and again. So these are AI agents which can communicate with the surroundings. Now, this is also started in, these are robotics, early robotics, which started with, again in the 1950s, you can see the first human robot it used to interact with its ecosystem, right? So AI agents, as we say, are basically something that can interact, understand the surrounding. Oh, I am in Mumbai, so थोड़ा आमची मुंबई भाषा में बोल सकते हैं, या फिर I am in Bangalore, Namma Bangalore, you can say in Kannada. So it understands this ecosystem that it is existing. It takes certain inputs. It could be visual inputs, it could be text, it could be any type of input. And through its reasoning, it can come up with an output. and interact with its environment. This is a difference between AI agents and basic generative AI elements that comes up. But there are now LLM-based AI agents, right, which are multimodal, model-based AI agents which can interact with your surrounding. You just have to look at ChatGPT's 7 days, 10 days of ChatGPT OpenAI conferences to see the growth we have gone in, right? Let me actually talk how it works, right? Basically, you have input coming up. For example, look at the sky. Do you think it will rain tomorrow, right? So it takes that input. It actually uses certain tools to actually do an API call. Hey, will it rain? What is the temperature? What are the probabilities? And it then reasons it out. It actually uses its memory to see, hey, this is month of May. It may not rain in Bangalore. Oh, it is Mumbai. There's a high possibility if the rains are uncertain, right? So it can reason and create certain actions. Now, these are models, the AI agents, which can not just evolve into a part doing a rule-based quotient, but also actually take decisions. So if you tell it, hey, can you, what is the performance of Ashok during Q1? Do you think his job was up to date, right? If the AI agent is connected to the various systems, right? It can actually give you a feedback. It can actually take certain actions. A group of them can do certain executions, right? So this actually is our animals that you see in the Snow Whites, right? But we couldn't tame those animals, but we have tamed an artificial being or artificial elements with non-human intelligence to do our bidding, right? The lazy DNA in human beings, right? So now that I've actually covered what is an AI agent, everyone is excited. Hey, how do I build one? Right? How do I go and build these AI agents? Now, the good thing is open source is been growing and building these frameworks. These are some of the frameworks. Around 78 frameworks out here are open source. You can actually scan the QR code here there and take us as my gift actually. Now, this is not something I've actually made. I actually stole it from a Reddit post. So please. So you can scan there. It will redirect you to the original link. You can actually explore all these links. These are frameworks that a developer can use from LangChain or True AI to some of Microsoft's technologies, right? To some of the open source libraries that are there, which may not be famous yet actually, or been popular yet for the right reason, lack of DevRel activities, all right? So now this can help you automate 90% of your task, right? Now some of you may not know coding, right? If you're hoping that we can use AI to code, AI hallucinates a lot. So as a developer, I will not recommend. But good thing for you is we've got AI agent platforms. Now here I have platforms from Postman AI agent platform, right? I'm not sure whether you're familiar with that framework, to some of the paid platforms. Unfortunately, only 12 of them are open source. Rest you may have to pay for them. Again, QR code is there. If you scan the QR code, you will also get productivity. If you don't want to build any AI agent, or like I want to use something that is already there, if you scan the QR code, you will find productivity AI models that are there. Something around in each category, you will find these models. Sorry, AI agents. Now, let's actually explore some. How do I now? If some of you are thinking of, hey, let me build something. So let me get you an example. Let's take LangChain, right? Again, this is from a tutorial that I've referred to. Here, the problem statement is actually, I sent you an email saying, hey, can I schedule can I reschedule my meeting with you at 2 p.m., right? So the email actually gets sent to XYZ. XYZ is using that AI model. That is the use case, right? So the email comes in, it gets parsed, right? It gets sent to the agent, right? Now, agent will actually process it using its prompts. It will fetch data that is required based on the emailer who sent it, verify whether if he actually has any scheduling with our AI agent owner, uses a chat model which is similar to a LangChain model, and then parses which tool can it use. For example, it can use availability function or any functions that are there. These tools can be, there's a huge set of tools that it can use, and based on that, it can actually then give out responses to it. It can revert back to via an email. It can revert back via WhatsApp. It can actually reschedule, do certain activities based on it. This is a basic, this thing is LangChain version 0.1. So some of these elements have changed. Now, if you want to put it into production, you need to do caching and few other elements, but this will actually get you started if you're trying to start with something, right? So now here, now this is an old function, but I want to actually point out something called temperature. I usually get people asking me, what is a temperature out here with LLM, right? It's like if I'm in Ooty, I should put Utica temperature, or what is it? So temperature is usually how, if you give it a lower temperature, then it is like apna Shankar party uncle that I know. He's a very strict guy in my colony. Hey Sobin, no, don't do that. Don't do that. But a teacher 65, once he has in the evening, he's a very chilled out guy. Chilla, chilla, chilla. He starts dancing in the terrace. So if you, its temperature is like that, right? If you put a lower temperature, as in low alcohol in Shankar party uncle, he is very strict. If you put increase the temperature, he will tell chilla, 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 chilla. So basically the model will actually be little more creative. It will give out some funny answers. Instead of 2 + 2, it may give you dragon is 2 dragons or 42, right? If you increase the temperature. If you keep it 0, you will give you 2 + 2 is 4. So the basic tool model that is there. Let me actually get into some of these applications. AI agents are coming into use in various platforms, from the automated robots to healthcare sector to customer care, right? I'll give you some of the examples that we are using. Yeah, this is something that we have been using. So this is a conversation. This is supposed to be a GIF animation. So this is a performance review that is conducted, right? So the Sue is our AI agent. So Sue asks Jim's performance. If you have seen The Office, this is created on the Office characters. So you can actually see the response that the Sue gives out. You can actually interact. These AI agents can work like humans and start conversing with employees, taking feedbacks. One of our use cases, wellness management, right? So if most of employees get burned out, they lose morale, and they move out of the company. So our AI agents actually send messages on WhatsApp, send messages on Slack or Team based on the organization deployment, and actually understand the employee's current state. So this is another example where we have the Sue Sue is interacting with one of the employee to actually filter certain candidates, and Sue has filtered these candidates. Another example is actually an email conversation. So Slack conversation about Sue actually interacting with another candidate to candidate filtering. Unfortunately, the GIFs are not working properly. Again, over email, who is actually reconnecting with one of the talent pool employees to actually understand whether they are available for opening, and the candidate actually pushes out. What we understood in most of our deployment is actually, if you say, tell the employees that this is a bot, the success ratio goes down drastically down. But if you humanize it and put characters into it and put a name to it, basically humanizing it, response comes faster. So one example I'll tell you. For the last 1 year, I do not have an HR person, but all my employees know someone called Ria Thomas, who's been actually contacting them and doing all sort of activities. I have not told my employees till last month कि Ria Thomas does not exist. My experiment was whether people would react to Ria Thomas. So I created an image, I created a backstory, I created an entire LinkedIn profile around her. I made friends, AI friends with her. So if you go to her profile, oh my God, Ria is like worked in this. She's communicating with people. So any of my employees felt that Ria is actually an actual HR. But she's been doing hiring for me. She's been doing, she as an it actually, it has been doing hiring for us. It has been actually approving leaves. It has been approving, it is talking to candidates in terms of if they actually sign out late, is there any issues? It is actually communicating with them. One of my employee actually wanted to actually gift Ria for the emotional support that she sent, right? Candidates get rejection email and they say, send her thank you letter. This is the most empathetical letter that I found when I got rejected. I put these images on LinkedIn on her profile. The truth is, as long as you don't, it's about your perception with the model or the AI agent, right? So for the last 12 months, I've been actually experimenting on it, and it has been a success, right? It can create, now this is not replacing any job. What I understand after all our deployment is we have not moved people out from their jobs. We have promoted them. Now an HR who is actually doing all these operational work, right, is now promoted to a general's role. She has an army of 100 AI agents in her command. She can do her strategic thoughts, ask for a hike, ask for spend time with her family, right? All the mundane work that is required in terms of operation is moved to the AI. And these are not like bots. These are super human like, or no, I shouldn't use the word human like. These are more autonomous agents that can do these tasks. Similarly, there is an employee in my company called Priya. Now, Priya has been doing sales for us. And all my employees think she's an actual person because Ria interacts with them on Slack. So, so the perspective is actually even another employee of mine asked me, when is Ria's birthday? Because we are not celebrating. I even had to had to put up a date for her, right? But the matter is actually automating these activities which are mundane so that humans can actually move into more better things to do, right? Rather than these mundane activities, right? In terms of saving time, I will give you an example. One of our customer reached out to us, said, hey, Subin, we need an app clip developer. Now, app clip is a small feature in iOS development. It's not a very crazy feature that everyone uses. So we had to actually go in and interview around 12K, 1,200 candidates. Now, in a regular model, regular process, you'll have to spend 600 to 1,200 hours calling the candidate, because if you ask the candidate, hello, you know app clip, the candidate will Google app clip. Ah, I know app clip. Yes, I know app clip. So then you spend interviewing them, you understand that he does not know app clip. He just Googled it and found an app which is called app clip and he's talking about it. Now, that is a waste. It's a waste of time for the a candidate also. He goes through the whole process of preparing and finally he gets rejected, right? So what did we do? We reached out to all these candidates over WhatsApp. In a very empathetical manner, we asked them questions to validate their claims and we verified them. And finally, we got 20 candidates out from there, and the employee hired 2 people instead of 1, saving a lot of our time, saving a lot of candidate times also. Again, this is supposed to be a GIF. These are certain communications that Sue is having with a vendor actually in terms of payment. These are certain interactions she is having with regards to um, this is in regards to a candidate who has logged in, right? It's his first day. Sue is actually communicating with the HR manager to say that the person has accepted his offer letter and eh, we can expect the first day agenda with them. Now, what are the ethical issues with this? Certain issues that I've seen with our startup is biases. So candidates from certain states, right? We started rejecting them because of certain issues with background verification and things like that, right? After a good number of months, right? The AI started rejecting these folks automatically based on where they were located, right? Based on the names and certain elements, which created certain biases which we had to remove, which is another issue with AI agents that we have to, when we are building up, we have to make sure those elements don't come up. Transparency is another issue. Misuse of AI agent, deep fake is a bigger example of that. Now, ethical issues apart, there are certain security issues that are there. Now, security issues are if you don't deploy it properly, if the models are not deployed, trained properly, fine-tuned, the agents are not programmed properly, the prompts are not guarded properly, there are issues of data poisoning that can come up. Prompt injection, where you actually put an input to understand the internal operations and prompts of the AI, of the ecosystem. And AGI is not there in this list. I don't look at that as a security issue, but certain regulations are not in place in terms of policies, where it can be used, who can message. These are certain security issues that comes into play. Finally, what is the future, right? Is it a utopia where everything is like the Snow White? Or is it AI is going to destroy us? Uh, Skynet is going to come in, right? So that we can only determine what we do at the present. Based on our past behaviors, we can understand what what the AI revolution will come to, right? And I hope this was a good session, right? And you had some takeaways. I wanted to do certain programmings and GIFs were not working, unfortunately. So you could have seen the demo work. So yeah, so this is me, Sobin George Thomas. Hope you enjoyed the session. Thank you.
Sobin, are you ready to take a few questions?
Yeah,
One
sure.
or two?
Sure. Yeah. Huh? Huh?
Instead of replying to all messages immediately,
Hmm.
maybe reply to some messages, lower priority messages with some delay to make it more human-like. Does that make sense?
Error. So this is another finding that we did actually. What happened was a candidate was communicating. So we usually deploy it for our customers. And we monitor the activity. We do it as a service. So the candidate, the candidate got a response at around 12 at the midnight, right? And the message was immediate, right? And certain rejections happened in seconds, right? Because so people got hurt, right? Feelings got hurt. These are so certain things, right? We have to. So these are not model issues. Morely, we have to implementation issues, right? The way we implement it. So we slowed down the model to how it works, how the responses have to put deadlines on timings. So it is not going to message at 3 in the morning, right? And when rejection. So there is a delayed. It does 6 seconds rejection, our system, but we have delayed it to make a 2 hour rejection. So any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. I have a question.
Uh-huh.
One second. So it was very interesting that you pointed out the ethical considerations here.
Hmm.
Just wanted to identify if you have things in place already to do it in runtime, or how do you manage to assess the bias and fairness? Like, how do you do it? Because I read about a legal lawsuit that had been
Yeah.
set up, right, for iTutor group, I think,
Uh-huh.
who had to pay a lot of money just because the AI algorithm rejected their lady's application and she sued back the company. So, how do you deal with such things?
Yeah, so see, the entire framework itself is pretty new. LangChain is, we don't use LangChain, but LangChain itself, which is a popular one, it's still not version 1, it's 0.03 version, right? So we actually have put certain conditions in place, like the rejections, like the way emails are going, even the way we reject candidates, because we have to manage a talent pool. Usually, usually people send a flat rejection. The candidate is pissed off, he's not going to apply now. So those ethical considerations have to be observed. Unfortunately, there's no single framework to do it, because based on conditions, right, it changes. Yes.
You will take one last question.
No, we are not.
You're not.
No, no.
Okay. Just wanted to ask, what's been your experience across the various agentic frameworks? Which ones do you think are the more mature ones today? And how would you answer that from an open source perspective as well? Thanks.
Okay. So when we started this experiment, uh, LangChain was pretty new actually. My experience with open source framework, I did not want to jump it. So for example, version 0.1 is a lot of functions have actually changed, right? So we started building our own framework. And it's not great as LangChain is currently now, but it actually does our trick, right? So if you are actually starting a project, LangChain is a better option. True AI is also a better option actually. There are frameworks and there will be frameworks coming, new frameworks coming as the model matures. Thank you.
Okay, he's a storyteller, he's witty, he's funny, and he's the co-founder of ArkOne. Give it up for Sobin Thomas, people.